Welcome to the Pitcher Podcast, where the conversation is free flow, everything is on the house, and all we ask for in return is for you not to give us 1-star reviews. I'm Cody.
And I'm Ian.
And today we're going to be talking about...
materialism.
Very nice. Are you a material girl?
I'm your material girl.
Very good.
But it'll be an interesting topic to talk about materialism, especially in our generation and in younger generations. And we'll explore this a bit later. But before that, let's get into the culture corner. This week we'll be doing TV shows. I'll start us off so then Cody doesn't have to bitch about it.
Oh my God.
So, I've only seen not even one episode, like partially, like the first part of the first episode. And it's a show called Pretend It's a City. It's by Fran Leibowitz, this famous comedian, writer. She's, I guess, really big in the entertainment industry, I believe.
Okay.
I've only heard of her name, but I didn't actually know who she was before, watching the show. But it's the majority of the show. It's her and Martin Scorsese, who's this super famous director, and she's just, talking about her stories in New York. She's this like intense New Yorker through and through, and it's just like a whole season of her talking about New York. And for people who don't know, I'm a big fan of the sissy. Have big plans and dreams about moving to the Big Apple.
You're moving there next year, right? I've never seen Ian so flustered at that one moment. He looked at me just despair in his eyes.
No, because Cody was on one knee and he was holding a ring, so I was like,
I did it completely silently. So quick.
But yeah, it's just her about like talking about stories in New York, what it's like, talking about tourists in New York, behaviors of people in New York, and it's just like a fun little thing to watch, especially if you're fascinated about New York, or for Cody, who's moving to New York
with Ian,
with me. So I've also recommended the show for him just to kind of gauge what it's like there. Have you been to New York?
I've never.
So Cody's never been to New York. And then I was joking just now. I was like, after watching this, Cody's going to come back with like a thick New York accent. He's going to be like, yeah, forget about it. I'm like, come on, Cody, come on.
My girlfriend, who's also moving there, would be beating you up or something.
No, she's like this like small girl. She's like probably smaller than Cody.
Yeah.
Not probably, she is smaller than Cody. And she'll like, I'll pick them up in the airport. She's like, I'm like in her like arm. She's giving me like a nuggie or whatever. It's like, yeah. And I'm like, come on, guys, please. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. I mean, not 100% yet because I haven't actually seen it all. But I think there's a lot of promising bits to it. But I think it's really hard for someone to be engrossed into it if they're not too interested about, New York.
Yeah. So are they long episodes, like 40 minutes?
20-something minutes.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, it's very anecdotal. She's like joking a bit, so it's pretty easy to watch.
Okay. And did you just see it on those like recently released tabs, or how did you find it?
It was also recommended by Juliette.
Okay.
Because she also knows my fascination with New York.
Oh, okay.
She said, this is interesting, but she got kind of bored of it.
Yeah, you said everyone was bored.
Yeah, everyone's bored. Everyone's like, wait, what's this? Guys, just keep watching, please. Like when you're watching TV and someone's like, oh, this is not good. It's like, no, it might be good. Just give it give it a few minutes.
Yeah, I guess so. Like hyper
defensive.
Yeah, that. But then also whenever anyone's like, or like look somewhere else, I'm like, just give it a chance. Just give it a chance.
Especially because like you're liking it.
Yeah,
and you see promise in it. And then they're just okay, and then you get kicked off, and you're like, okay, we're not gonna watch it.
Let's not watch it.
You don't even watch it. You don't watch it, and then they're like, oh no, it's fine.
Yeah.
And they give you like that pity shit.
Yeah. That's like what after the Friendsmas cookout when we watched the comedy show that was recommended by one of our friends.
Yeah. And then they were like, it's so funny. And then you can like understand. It's every time when you show like a video or something or like a meme to someone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it gets better.
Yeah, it promise it gets better. Because our one friend, actually we'll just say it was Rachel, a really good friend who was on the podcast earlier on.
Cody, you're calling her out?
She definitely doesn't listen to it.
Okay, fine.
But she was really raving about this one Ali Wong comedy special and on Netflix. And these things are long too. It's like an hour and 10 minutes or like an hour and 30 minutes at least,
you
right?
You have to be you're committing to it.
Yeah. It's not like a 5-minute YouTube like stand-up thing or something. But so this is after, like in the evening after we had played games and taken a walk after our Friendsmas thing. And then she's like, okay, let's watch this. It's going to be good. You guys are going to love it. And then 10 minutes in, we're all just silent. And then she's like, no, let's just go to something else. Like, I'm getting insecure now. It doesn't seem like you guys like it. And then I had to be like,
it's
no,
fine.
it's good. And then I had to like laugh throughout some parts of it. I did actually find part of it funny, but yeah, it's a bit rough to be the one taking risk.
I'm sure I can understand the appeal of Ali Wang, but I'm just like not a fan of the aggressive, very crass humor that a lot of comedians use. They would tend to like just shout in your face.
Yeah.
And then that's like comedic effect because they're so like silly and goofy.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kevin Hart.
Oh, yeah.
He does that a bit as
Kevin
well.
Hardy?
No, like I'm saying it's like Kevin Hardy.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sorry guys, you guys probably didn't understand that. Thank you for Cody to clarify on that note. But essentially, like I don't like the shouting in your face because it's more so physical humor and people are laughing at what you're doing as opposed to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
And then I also was like, oh no, it's fine.
Yeah,
guys,
this
fine.
is good. What'd you think about it? Oh yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It's like, Ian, you were on your phone the entire time. Yeah. I was just searching her up. Very curious as to her life story.
Yeah, and we had, in all fairness, we had drank a bit by then too. So I was just like struggling to stay awake, just sitting on the couch for this thing like an hour and 20 minutes long.
from our lunch as well.
Yeah. We were so full.
The thing is, like, for stand-up comedies, it's very tailored to one's humor. That's why there's such a wide variety of them out there, and why so many get like so much appeal from different audiences. Like people who are fans of one wouldn't be necessarily fans of all, right? Yeah. So it was kind of a weird thing to like commit to, especially if it's a thing that everyone's watching.
Yeah.
It's because you think it's funny. It doesn't mean people think it's funny.
Yeah, for sure. Comedy is so specific to like the person.
So maybe we should have watched a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, I don't know. No one was wanting to choose what we watched too, because no one wants to be that person.
It
put
is
on
hard
the spot.
though.
Yeah.
It is so hard.
It is really hard.
I think I spend more time browsing on Netflix than watching anything.
Yeah.
I did that last night, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. I'm making the executive decision. We're watching Chef. By the way, Chef, really good movie. This is not part of the Culture Corner, but Chef is this movie about a famous chef in like LA who wants to, make his own mark in the food scene by cooking his own stuff. Continue to be this like breath of fresh air in the food industry, but then he's constantly restricted by the restaurant owner who's like restricting him to the main menu, and he's restricting his food creativity. And then he has this like unraveling moment, and then starts a food truck. And it's a really fun, like feel good movie that I could just watch like 100 times over. It has a loaded cast and it's sick. I think you should watch it, Cody. But I think yet again, this is like very tailored to my own taste because I love cooking.
Right. Yeah.
If you love food and cooking, do watch Chef.
Okay.
If you're lazy and you don't like to cook because you don't even cook at home, not calling out names, Cody. I'm joking. Cody's a great show.
Oh dear.
But you should definitely watch it.
Okay.
It's a good watch with your family as well.
Okay.
Very family friendly.
Okay, great. Well,
apart from all the sex.
Oh my god.
There's nothing. It's great food though.
Okay. Noted with thanks for that one.
MD Cody coming out.
My TV show that I'd recommend is Disenchantment. I recommended actually like a few months ago in one of our episodes, but it's a Netflix show and it's only like 2 years old. I think it started in 2018, and it's I can't remember if it's like directed or founded, or basically it's animated by the same guy who created The Simpsons, Matt Groening, but I don't know if he's like the director, like what his specific role is with it now, but it's good. It follows like a fairy tale world, and it also has Eric Andre in it and a couple of other famous like voice actors, and so it's very lighthearted. The episodes are only like 25 minutes long, and it's just them getting into hijinks, but it's also like it's not like Family Guy or The Simpsons where it's just like discrete episodes that don't really form into like a general season plot. It's like it actually follows like a plot, so it's very engrossing. And they only come out with they call it like stories, which is just like seasons. Each one has 10 episodes, and it's only like 25 minutes long, and they only make one every year, I guess. So I was just scrolling through Netflix the other day, and I saw that their most recent story had just been released. So anyways, I'm like almost done with it already,
Yeah.
but I would just recommend it if you don't want to have a huge investment.
Were you perseverating?
Was I perseverating?
The last episode would be a good episode. I just had to fit that in. We have to say perseverate once in every episode.
Okay. You have to say it once more when we get to our topic. You have to just slide it in.
Were you perseverating that you'd get a Rolls Royce for your 16th birthday?
But anyways, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. Were you a big fan of The Simpsons back then?
No, I never have been able to truly get into The Simpsons.
Okay,
I was much more like a Family Guy.
I don't know where I read this, but I don't know if it's 100% true either. But according to the article, do you know why The Simpsons were all in yellow?
No, I have no clue.
Because essentially back in the days, the back in TV days, people were just scrolling through channels and stuff. So he decided to make all the characters yellow as it stood out from the rest. Because normally people are matched to their race or whatever. Right. But having this like all yellow cast, people always like stop like, oh, what the hell is this? But then keep watching.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
I think that's why they made everyone yellow.
Right.
It's either that or The Simpsons is Chinese. But we're
equally good probabilities of those being the case.
But yeah, I find the art style very interesting.
The Simpsons?
Yeah. And that's carried over into Disenchantment, right?
Yeah. It's a bit like The Simpsons I just view as like blocky, and it's been going on for like 25 years or whatever.
Like
so
80 seasons
yeah,
or whatever.
Yeah. So I think that like just because Netflix has like insane budgets and everything, like the animation on it is very, very, very pretty. Whereas like Simpsons, if you watch like season 5 or something that was in the 80s or something, it's just like super grainy.
What's that called? I watched Simpsons as a kid, but then when I grew into my teens, I grew up a bit, matured a bit, and then transitioned into Family Guy as well.
That's the goat.
But I was watching like Family Guy a while back, and I went back to the first episode. Holy crap! It looked bad.
Yeah. Because that's been going. The first episode was like pre 9/11. Even it was like in the 90s and stuff.
I remember watching Family Guy, and then everyone's still like watching other things, and I thought it was super like cool and edgy for watching something so. I guess it's not crass, but it's very mature. Very PG.
I still watch Family Guy, and I laugh at it. And stuff. I still find it funny.
Do you like laugh, or do you like do one of those?
Well, if I'm watching it by myself, I guess some of the jokes I will actually laugh, like out loud.
Because I don't know what show or what movie I watched recently. I'll try to find what it was, but I was like, I caught myself actually like howling by myself,
right?
And I'm like, that means it's good, but I look like a freaking madman.
Yeah. You can't remember?
No, I can't remember. But one thing I want to bring up, this is super random because we're transitioning into the weekly catch up. Is I saw like this meme on Instagram just now, and it just cracked me up because it was like one of those like posts where it's like an interesting fact, and normally it's something that's actually interesting, but this one's like fingerprints of koalas and humans are so similar that crime scene investigators always like mix them up, and then someone was like, when are there ever crimes with koalas and humans? Yeah. I realized when I read out a meme, it's just not that funny.
It's like when you show a meme to your parents and they like do the parent stare where they're like looking at your phone.
And then they start dissecting it. They're like, what does this mean? It's like, it's not funny if I have to explain it to you.
Yeah. And then sometimes they'll just be like, great, and this is your humor? Or like, this is what you find funny?
Yeah. And they instead roast you. Yeah. But I remember doing this to my little cousin. He loves memes and stuff. Yeah. And then we would just like kind of tease him and be like, dude, like act out the meme. And he's like, no. And then I'm like, come on, just act it out. And he'll like act out a meme. He'll be like walking to a room and then he'll like put his arms up. And I'm like, I don't get it. He's like, dude, do you not know the meme? I'm like, oh my God.
What was the meme?
I don't know.
You didn't even ask for an explanation.
He couldn't. He's 10. Okay, I'm going to get into this. I wrote like a little rant topic in our main topic, but I'll be ranting about kids later.
All right.
But let's get into our weekly catch up.
All right. You want me to go first?
Yes. Unless you want me to go first.
No, I'll go first.
So basically,
no, go.
No, you go first.
This was my last week of work at the place that I've been working.
Congratulations.
Thank you for the past 5 months. I'm
clapping away from the mic so it doesn't,
And so it was good. It was just a bit like hectic with trying to send off like all my deliverables and get everything done or like passed on to the next person who can take on these projects. Yeah, I guess. But it was good. It's a bit tough to like organize goodbye drinks or like goodbye festivities with COVID restrictions and things. But I was able to have some drinks with some colleagues.
Reasonably social distanced.
Yeah, it was. That's a whole topic that we don't have to talk about. Yeah. But it was.
By letting the audience know that it was safe.
Yeah. But. Yeah,
even if it wasn't.
Even if it wasn't, but we don't have to say that. Even though we just said
it.
Wink, wink. You're not meant to say wink, wink.
You don't say it out.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a bit sad because I've really enjoyed the place that I've been working for the past 5 months. But starting next week, I'm going to be working at a new place.
It's a small firm called Google, guys.
Heard of it? But yeah, and then the plan is for 2 months after that for me to move to New York. So
okay, when I said that, it reminded me of a story Cody once told me where he had like this mentor, whatever, who asked him to go to a Harvard lunch or a brunch, whatever, and his boss or his mentor didn't end up showing up. So it's just him by himself with all these Harvardites.
Yeah.
Is that what they call
the
themselves?
Harvard Club of Hong Kong.
And then essentially he told everyone, I don't actually go to Harvard.
Because we were going around the circle saying, what class were you? Like, what year did you go
to? And then he told them what school he went to. And then a guy was like, oh, yeah, it's fine, Cody. Like, I didn't go to Harvard as well. I just go to a small little college, like,
down the river
of Boston.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, like, maybe Boston College, Boston U. It was
this
MIT.
Dude went to MIT. A small little college, like, you don't know. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, that was bad.
I'm so stupid. Like, I didn't even get into Harvard, but I had to, like, have my safety, which is MIT.
There's, like, obnoxious subtle flexing.
Yeah.
You know, where you just have no place doing that. But anyways.
Sorry, I keep smacking the drawer, so if you occasionally hear that, like, banging sound, that's me. But before we transition to the topic itself.
Your weekly catch-up.
Oh, before my weekly catch-up either. Let's have a little bit of self-reflection.
Okay.
So how has your 6 months been at whatever company? I don't know if you've even mentioned the company, so I'm not going to say.
I haven't.
At the company that you've been at. Juliet loves doing this, but a rose, bud, and thorn.
Okay, yeah, we did that in college as well. Do you explain what it is?
So a rose is something that was like good throughout your experience. Thorn, obviously, the opposite, and then a bud is something that you're looking forward to, maybe after this experience or whatever.
Well, I guess
I had baby talk just now. What the hell was that? After the experience.
Vietnamese baby. But the rose probably would have been just the people and I guess like the nature of what I was doing. I found it super interesting and actually like intellectually stimulating.
That's nice.
Most of the time. Also a big thing about finance is everyone kind of like it was in finance, but everyone kind of toots their horn and like puffs their own ego up about how complex their job is, and most of the time actually like 70% of the job is editing spreadsheets or like resizing PowerPoints and stuff,
reading articles.
Yeah.
How stimulating was it when you were 6 shots down and your boss was asking you to get the 7th tequila shot right before lunch?
But
go on to your point. Don't say yes or no. It's a non-answer.
But yeah, the people were really good. I would say that on that note, probably like the thorn would have just been like the 4th wave of COVID, how it hit like in the middle of it, and it's been going on for a really long time.
Work from home.
Yeah. So I feel like it was just hard to work from home, and then also some people were going into the office, but some weren't, and that was hard just from like a workflow perspective, but also like from a socializing perspective, wasn't great to be working from home. But that's okay. I would say the bud, like what I'm hopeful for is just that I've made like a lot of good relationships through this company and like friendships, I guess I could say, and I know that those are gonna like last beyond these next 2 months or like even if I'm in New York and stuff. So they also travel a lot in that department, so a lot of them are like, oh, when COVID's done I'm gonna be in New York, so we should totally meet up and
really
like that.
So you might as well, just join full time and go back and forth to New York. But after your 6 months here,
Yeah.
Cody's also spent an internship at this company in the same department previously. Do you see hypothetically a future in yourself staying in the company or working in this department, and why not? Give a brief overview of what you do.
Okay. So the company that I worked for does, at least what I was focusing on was a kind of weird specific area in finance focused on these products called derivatives, which are products that get their value from other different securities. So if you've heard of like stocks or bonds, derivatives are just another type of thing that people can buy that get their value off of those in like layman's terms. So what we were doing was
man. You're lame for not knowing that, dude.
So what we were doing was focusing on a lot of business development, helping different companies be comfortable with these products and then helping explain it to them, but then also creating new products too.
Very client focused.
Yeah. Very client focused and very social. So the area is a bit niche, and it's not. I'm going into consulting in New York, which is just very different from this. So in terms of like,
what kind of consulting? Let the people know.
Management consulting mostly. So essentially just helping companies solve problems and things. So I don't know how much overlap there is with what I was doing over the past 5 months in terms of like very specific finance stuff, but I don't know. Never say never, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like it's a lot of soft skills that are transferable. I think unless you're transitioning into a role that's exactly the same thing from a different company, it's more so the soft skills that you've adopted. Yeah. And yeah. So that's your answer. Maybe you gave me a maybe answer. That's a non-answer, Cody. That's such a bad answer. No. Just say yes or no.
Yes, no.
You know.
You know.
Yes. I swear.
What we would do in elementary school.
Do you like her? No. Yes. Maybe. Oh, maybe.
Very good. Very good.
I miss you.
I want to hear about your week. Tell me. We haven't seen each other for a whole 7 days. So it seems, which is like rare for us.
It's not 7 days. It was 6 days.
Really?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. Like the last time I saw you.
If I don't see Cody for 7 days, I'd probably, I'd die. I'd deteriorate. I'd deteriorate like a, I'm not going to go down that.
All right, let's just hear about your week.
So my week was very interesting. A very, very busy week indeed. Starting to transition into a new office because essentially our office has expanded to a new unit. Very nice, very clean. And essentially, I work in a creative agency, so I tend to pick up a lot of different hats. And this time, I decided to take it upon myself to make a video for a promotional video for a project that we're doing that we'd like to submit to awards. And it was, I was surprised I was given so much power and autonomy to do something like that, especially when it's a creative agency, and they're probably so engrossed in doing something of great quality or whatever, and had me, a measly intern, do something like that. But it was really good. I spent 3 days just like entirely engrossed into making this video, and it just brings me back to my, it's not a love or a passion, but my enjoyment when it comes to filmmaking and film. I really like making videos and stuff like that, and being able to do that as part of my job, I'm very lucky to be able to enjoy it and be able to do it. But I remember when you were talking just now, there's one point that I kept into my mind, and I want to kind of like briefly talk about it. It's like the importance of having a good group of people around you when you work. I feel like passions drive you so much to a certain extent in terms of what you want to do and where you land, but like to be able to continue your work or continue passions, it's so important to have a strong group of people that make work less, painful. Yeah. And make you actually enjoy being in that place. Yeah. And I think a lot of times, like, we take it for granted, and I was lucky to be able to, like, most of my internships and most of my experiences working have been with a group of pretty good people. Yeah. So I'm always, like, thinking whenever I'm, like, planning on applying a new place, does it have that culture? Like, I always thought asking that was so redundant. It's just like one of those things you kind of want to ask to make it seem like you're interested. But now that you're actually working, you realize, I guess, like looking out, how important that is and why that'll be such an important thing like down the line.
Yeah, for sure. And we also have friends who like don't have great working environments and things too. So it just highlights how important it is for sure.
So to all the employers out there, keep it cool, man.
Yeah. Cool. I'll ask you the same question that you asked me. Like, could you see yourself working in this same industry, like in the future and stuff?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, why not? So going over I start short circuiting, and you realize I'm a robot. I'm actually chilling at home. I sent you my robot, but essentially, my background is very focused on law, so I'm very law heavy, and I do a lot more like corporate stuff. This is my first time branching out and doing something that's completely different. Took a U-turn and decided to try something out in the creative and industry, and I enjoy it. That's all I can say so far. But no, I do not see myself doing this long term. I feel like I don't get really stimulated enough doing this kind of stuff.
Okay.
I've been dabbling a lot in the finances of the company instead, which I think fits my field and my skill set more. And it's still very basic stuff, so I'm not very stimulated in the same time. And I guess at this point in my career, I kind of prioritize that stimulation more than feeling like I'm having fun. Yeah, I feel like there's a need to have a bit of both, but I feel like I prioritize the stimulation more, and I want to work in an environment that I'm getting properly pushed and challenged each day. Yeah. Like, I'm sure it's hectic for people out there, but that's something personally that I need to drive myself. I need that external pushing force, because my internal pushing force isn't enough. If that makes any sense. Yeah. So that's why I'd like to, branch out and try things that are completely out of my, expertise. Like, my previous internship was completely something that I've never done before as well. And I was probably in deeper waters than most people who were in the internship, because they probably studied certain things that would at least help out. Right. But I feel like throughout that process, again, the external pressures of having to catch up and in the same time do a good job was very motivational for myself, very educational, and I think very impactful into the way I view things and the way I view my job. And I think that's something I need in my working life, beyond just being passionate and having fun. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I hope that answers your question.
This is all a job interview.
Yeah. According to my CV, I'm a leader because I can lead people.
One question I've been asked before is, how do you spell leadership? And I'm just imagining, like, if I actually was like, oh, it's really, really simple. What I do is Lead. Oh, no, I can help you out with that.
Do you want the American or the British spelling?
Oh, don't worry, I've got this.
It's like your final like business interview with like the head of whatever.
Yeah. Or you start messing up halfway. LED. Wait, no. Sorry, I got something. Just a second.
You answer it wrong and still get the wrong answer wrong.
Oh dear. Anyways, should we jump into our topic now?
Yeah.
29 minutes into the pod.
I think this is good, Yeah. Before this episode, it was so hard for us to come up with a topic. Yeah. I'm gonna ask this, but people aren't gonna do it. But if you have any suggestions for topics for us to talk about, please let us know. If there's something you want us to watch, I'm sure we can do a podcast of watching something.
That would be fun.
Chatting
actually.
About it.
Yeah.
We should watch something like super obscure, and we wouldn't like. Something we wouldn't dabble in before. Yeah. And then it's just like me talking about things that I want to secretly watch, but I don't want to watch. Like, I really don't want to watch Bridgerton, but like, if you force my hands, I guess we'll watch it.
I mentioned Family Guy. Don't really like it anymore, but maybe like we could watch.
Don't say Gossip Girl, because I would never watch that. But also, let's start it right now.
Sex of the City? No thanks, but it might be interesting.
I am a big fan of Sarah Jessica Parker, though. But the topic that we're talking about this week is materialistic things. I don't know why this came up in my head, but it's less so a commentary on materialism, and we're not a politically driven podcast, so we're not here to criticize capitalism and being stuck in this like cog or whatever, or the system that is built for us to fail. But what I want to talk about is, we're starting to earn our own money, our own keep, and we're kind of like living on our own expenses. So I just kind of want to rack Cody's brain as to, in terms of what money means to him and how he wants to spend his money, and whether or not he would spend his money on different things. So I listed 3 really general topics, and I think it's pretty interesting to understand your mentality and your approach. I think I know what Cody's gonna say, but I don't think you guys know, because you guys don't know Cody that well. Losers, laymans. So
that's Ian's new insult. You lame man.
People get so offended because it's so stupid. It's more offensive than like cussing.
Yeah.
But the first thing, travel.
Yeah.
I think we've all perseverated about traveling in the future.
Very.
Yes. Yup. Okay. Beyond perseverating, I think we should do a thing where we learn a new word a week.
Oh, that would be fun.
Write that down right now as a segment before I forget.
Okay.
Because I do have a tendency of, having goldfish memory.
Okay.
So I think that'll be fun as a way for us to learn, man.
Yeah, very good.
It can be, I was going to say a different language, but that's a bit far-fetched.
You can just teach me Canto, too. I'm trying to learn more.
I could, but I could also get roasted. Because essentially, my girlfriend Juliet, like, I finally talked to her grandmother like a few months ago on FaceTime, and I said hi. Like, my girlfriend's half Chinese, so the grandmother asked me, "Oh, do you know how to speak Chinese?" I'm like, "Yeah." I started speaking to her in Chinese, and she was like, "Okay," and she starts giggling. I'm like, "Oh, what's so funny?" And she was like, "Oh, you sound like a white boy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." This is like the first time I've ever met you, or like, am I getting roasted?
Ian, you crying? No. This is great, man.
Ian, what's that sound? I'm just overjoyed. My allergies. But yeah, it was pretty funny getting roasted.
Okay, I won't roast you, but our listeners might.
Yeah. So we'll start with English.
We'll start off with English. Okay.
But yeah, perseverating about the futures of traveling.
Uh-huh.
How much, not how much would you spend, but how much of an importance do you place on putting money into traveling or traveling itself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think this comes
Thank
into
you. Dude, Cody was so ready. I was like, travel. That's a really good question because I'm like, dude, bro, like, take a break, man. Take a breather. Take a breather.
So I think it like comes down to everyone's like. I'm trying to think of a word. What I was gonna say is like utility function or something, but like everyone's priorities of like what is important to their pleasure and things. And like I have certain things that I just like would never spend a good amount of money on, like clothes I would never spend a ton of money on, like food or eating out I would never spend a ton of money on, but traveling is something that I definitely like do prioritize, and I think all of us kind of do prioritize. Like growing up in Hong Kong, where it's so easy to visit a bunch of other places versus like the U.S. where it's like not easy to leave the country just in terms of cost.
Which we're also very privileged to be able to do, especially the fact that we even talk about traveling to begin with. Yeah, but definitely. Continue.
So I think just like experiencing new things, and then also just like traveling with other people, especially like making new memories with people, is something that I really, really enjoy too. Like I was about to say that I only like traveling when I do it with other people, but I did take like a solo trip once, which was also like really good too. It was only for a few days.
That's a good tangent, but tell me about that.
Tell me about it. So Ian and I went to France for like 2 days, and then basically after that
2 days.
Yeah, it was only 2 days.
So it was like a whole weekend, like 3 days.
3 days, 2 nights. Yeah. But we like flew in.
Long,
yeah,
but
it's 12 hours more.
Don't lie to them.
But after that, Ian went back to Hong Kong essentially, and then I carried on traveling around. So I went to I only went to 2 places. I went to Budapest and I went to Prague. Just
in 2 days?
No, like 5 days or something like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But it was good. I have heard that like it's kind of like a bucket list thing, like taking a solo trip. Like everyone should do it once in their life. But it's nice because you can completely plan it around kind of like what you want to do too. So I feel like at least I was very, very efficient. Like you can see a lot in one day because it's like completely just like what you want to do. But then it also like does definitely like get lonely because you're like completely alone. So I only did it for a few days. But anyways, all that to say, I think like traveling is something that I have like ranked pretty highly in like what I'm willing to spend on. So yeah, I guess that's just my own thing. What about you?
Just branching off what you said previously, we went to Nice for 1 weekend. It was our honeymoon. I have a kind of a funny story about it because I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast.
We actually haven't talked about it too much on the podcast.
Okay, so essentially,
we posted photos from it.
Yeah, we went to Nice and essentially we got an Airbnb in like near the coast.
Yeah,
and it was a very nice place.
Yeah,
and that place had a roll-out sofa bed, and also had a little loft with a double, like a queen-size bed.
Yeah.
And then we walked into the apartment, we were checking it out.
Yeah.
It was, I think this is probably before we were about to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And then we're about to sleep, got ready, got the, like, sofa bed out, and then I was about to go to bed, and then Cody just miraculously starts climbing up the ladder, up the loft, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like... Why are you going upstairs? He's like, what do you mean? I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, there's so much space here. And then Cody was like, oh, okay.
So
and then we slept for 2 nights together on the same sofa bed as
just
opposed
by having
to
two beds. By having 2 beds. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like from the outside looking in, people could totally think we're a couple.
Yeah. I feel like the hosts kind of thought we were a couple.
And then they had a chalkboard in the back of their door, so I wrote Ian, love Cody.
Because everyone was like, anniversary trip, oh, honeymoon. No, it was just us. Just
it was quite fun though. Like Nice, there's not so much to do.
Yeah.
So it's just us like fucking around in a different country.
Especially because it's a summer town too. We went in December, so a lot of like the seasonal businesses are closed.
It was nice, especially because it was a short trip. If it was a short trip and it was a place where I just wanted to explore so many different things, I feel like it'll be very tiring. Yeah. And it will be less so us enjoying ourselves. It's more so just like ticking things off. Yeah. But this time we just like took our time, went around everywhere, ate on a budget because we're some broke ass students. Yeah. And decided to Instagram live here and there as well.
That was so funny.
That was pretty funny.
And then your phone died halfway through, and I didn't have that usable.
I was just like, I don't know why it came into my mind. I just started like Instagram living, and just like all our friends stopped popping up.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, but that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about on like spending money on traveling too. Is I feel like just the fun of traveling is like, for me, when I say that, like, I want to preface, I guess, what I was saying about, like, spending money on traveling. It's, like, for me, I just prioritize traveling in general if I can. And so I think, like, for both of us, like, we're not expecting to stay in, like, super, super nice places and stuff.
So, just like the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Cody said before thinking about it.
Well, I'm just so used to going along with everything you say.
The 5 Seasons. The 5 Seasons hostel.
The 3 seasons. But I mean, only like the St. Regis, right?
Yeah.
But
we get it, Cody.
But I've had a few trips where we've stayed in absolute like just complete shabbiness. Like there was 4 of us who, this is the last trip that I went on, but we were in Boston, and this is right before COVID really hit the US. Yeah. But we had booked this place that said that it could fit 4 on Airbnb, and we had a strict budget. Like, we did not want to go above, however, like $50 per night per person or something like that. And so we get in there, and it's like a 2-person hotel room with 2, like, I don't even know if you could call them double beds. Like, they were single bed, but like a bit wider. Yeah.
Larger single
so
beds.
It was 4 of us, and then like 2 per bed. And then the person, my roommate, Danny, who I love to death, but is a horrible sleeper, I was in bed with. And so I've never been in bed with a worse person sleeping. He shoved me at night. He was talking to me at night, all in his sleep.
Yeah.
And then, in one fell swoop, he grabbed all of the blanket and
Oh my God.
completely pulled it off me. So then, and then one time he hugged me and then got scared and then pushed me away too. So I just went to the bathroom.
Such a violent
Yeah,
sleeper.
I know. He was a violent sleeper. I went to the bathroom and then just went in the bathtub and pulled towels around me and then just huddled up there.
That's like when you sleep over at a friend's house.
Yeah.
And you're sleeping with like a piece of tissue on top of it.
And I actually slept better there than I did in the bed. But then one of my friends had to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, so he kept all the lights on. And then he was sitting on the toilet, and then he hears something move, and then he opens his eyes more, and there's a body in the bathtub.
I'd lose my stuff.
But it was...
That was so PG. I said I'd lose my stuff.
Yeah, you would.
Shit.
But yeah, anyways, like, traveling, I think, for both of us doesn't have to be, like, a super, super nice thing where we're spending, like, a ton of money.
I mean,
it's
literally...
just, like, making... Like, all of those awful, like, rooming situations make for, like, such good stories.
Literally, like, when we went to... I went to LA with a couple of our close friends way back. And we had another friend end up joining us, so... We couldn't fit everyone into the same motel room because it was just 2 beds. So we decided to allocate one of our friends to sleep with this other friend who decided to join in late. And then we were basically in Long Beach, and we booked them like this janky ass like Motel 6 room. And then they were just telling us, they were like, "This is the worst experience I've ever had."
Yeah.
As we like rocked up to the motel, there were a bunch of like hookers outside. And then it was 4th of July. We didn't like pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So when they were sleeping, there was just all these fireworks going off.
Yeah.
They were practicing before 4th of July.
Yeah.
And they thought it was gunshots.
Yeah.
So they were just like horrified the entire time. But in the same vein, like I remember we slept at an airport hotel in Seattle, and we had the same situation: 2 tiny beds for 4 people. Michael and I, one of our friends who's on this podcast, was on the same bed. And then the other 2 was Philson and Gareth. So this is 2 of our really good friends who, they are like bigger human beings. They would fit one single bed, but we squeezed both of them onto one double bed. So they were like beyond snuggling. They were just like intensely spooning just to make sure they were on the bed. It was freaking hilarious.
That's so funny.
But also, and then tangenting off Cody's point about solo traveling, I had a tiniest glimpse of it when I went to Japan in 2019. Because essentially, I was going to go to Japan with a whole group of people, and we were going to return like together, but I bought tickets late, so I was going to return the day after that. And then another friend of mine decided to do that as well. So we'd spend an extra day in Tokyo and just like explore and just... Because sometimes when you're in too big of a group, it's hard to do things that you want to do, as you said previously. So we decided to do it. But then, essentially, when we were about to fly to Tokyo, he was at the airport. He was like hungover as hell. And then I was like, dude, yeah, let's go. And he was like, he was with his girlfriend there. Yeah. He told me that he didn't actually buy his tickets and that he didn't get a confirmation email. So he had to buy new tickets. And then essentially there was this whole mix-up, and he left earlier than I did on the very last day, and I had a whole day by myself in Tokyo. And I was like, oh, that's such a bummer. But I enjoyed it so much. I was able to queue up for like ramen. Like, I love ramen. It was absolutely phenomenal. I got to just walk around the city, explore different places, grab coffee by myself, just read, explore, visit museums and everything. And I thought it was very therapeutic. But yet again, I feel like that was one day. If I had to do a week or a month of that, I'd feel so lonely. It's because I didn't go in with the intention of seeing or meeting people. Yeah, but I don't know how they'll differ if I went solo traveling to meet people in like a hostel or whatever.
Okay, I need a cough.
Wow, Cody is coughing. So, in terms of how I spend money on travel and my, priorities for travel, I think I would, brain fart, sorry. Yeah. I would reflect Cody's sentiment in the fact that I would, I guess, prioritize spending my money on traveling as well. We probably talked about this in our traveling episode, but I'm starting to prioritize traveling to places with like natural wonders as opposed to cities. Especially like having gone to Europe and so many European cities. I remember I went skiing with Michael and Gareth one time, and we have to go to Geneva or somewhere in Switzerland. I think it was Geneva, right before flying back to the UK. So we have to stop off at Geneva. And then I was like to Michael, I was like, dude, this is so sick. Like, we have all this time. I think because Gareth was on a different flight, so he already left. It was just me and Michael. I was like, how cool is this? We get like one day and we're basically traveling to a different city, a different country. Yeah. Like, it's so worth it because we have a whole day and it feels like we've gone to 2 places in a week. And we were like, oh, so excited. It probably took 3 hours. And we were so tired and done with the city. Because especially for Switzerland, it's riddled with just like rich people stuff. Right. So if you're not there to buy like a Rolex, or if you're not there to drive your fancy car or go skiing, then there's really nothing to do. Right. You want a burger, you're gonna spend like 15 euros. Right. So it's like nothing around there is economical, nor anything was really there for you to check out, and it kind of killed the hype a bit. Yeah. And then it's the saying, like, once you've seen one European city, you've basically seen it all. Right. And I don't want to, put everyone's countries, wherever you guys are from, into a shoebox, but come on, man. It's kind of true. Okay. Like, yeah, so I'm more into, experiences outside of the city. Apart from New York, because I love New York, guys. The Big Apple will always be in my heart, guys. Always be in my heart. San Francisco is a close second. Yeah. There is no third. I don't think there's a third country in the U.S. I would live or work in. Right.
The apple of my shot.
The apple of my shot. But yeah, shout out to all the people in San Francisco, New York. Hook me up with a job. Yeah, and a visa as well.
And a visa. I'll pop you in my
Biden, please.
One of the second questions that you had written down is, what would you do differently if you had more or less? Why don't we go with more?
More?
Yeah.
I feel like I would definitely splash a lot of cash if I had a lot more. Yeah. In terms of, but I still feel like it'll be more so on experiences. Yeah. When it comes to food, I feel like currently I can never justify paying like $1,000 or even close to 1,000 Hong Kong dollars on a meal. Like, I feel like there's so much things out there I can spend my money on that I wouldn't prioritize a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour meal that I'd literally shit out afterwards. Yeah. Like, $1,000 to me is such a huge sum of money. But if I was like a billionaire and $1,000, like, obviously I would do that. Yeah. Because I would really like to indulge in that experience, the dining experience. Yeah. Less so, like, I say this and then I don't know if Cody's gonna snark at me, but I don't take photos of food. I'm not like, I don't post about it. Yeah. Because I don't like doing that. I like just experiencing it as it is, and especially like when food needs to be fresh, like I'll just eat it. Yeah. Like, I'm there to eat. I'm not there to show people that I'm eating. Yeah. So I would definitely splash a bit more cash on eating and traveling as well.
What was the part where I was gonna snark at you?
I don't know. I'm just so insecure that Cody's gonna roast me any second.
Okay, carry on. Traveling.
But, traveling. Yeah. I mean, come on, like first class.
Yeah.
If I had more cash, I wouldn't be like, I'll just like, just not do first class. But if I was a billionaire, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to clothes, I still don't think I would spend too much. Yeah. I don't know about what Cody thinks about me. I don't think I'm a very flashy guy. Okay. So I don't need that kind of stuff. I think everything I can get now, I would wear even if I was a mega billionaire. Yeah. Which I probably will, guys. So. Bitcoin's going up. We are the bullish mentality, guys.
And I put all my life savings
on Dogecoin. But what about you, Cody? I think, Cody's put a timestamp there because he's saying that I'm speaking for too long and I'm going over time because what I'm saying is kind of boring him right now. He yawned 3 times.
No, I put a timestamp there because that's when you said the F word that I'm going to have to... send over to you. But
okay, but Cody, please answer.
Yeah, I think just traveling for sure. Like spending more money on like the quality of travel and things like that. Probably not like I genuinely think I would just travel like a ton if I had more money than like I could count, or more money than I had to like support myself with. Then I would just try to like travel full time. Or some people
real
I know
estate. Would you
like get into real estate? Well, are we talking about if we're like billionaires and we genuinely don't have to work? If I was just a billionaire, like I don't know, I would probably be a bit into real estate, I guess. But
actually, less so on the investment side. But would you buy yourself like a really lavish, a really like big house?
I don't think I would buy myself a big house. I think I would buy myself like a really nice apartment, like in a
same. Pound it under the table.
I don't have like any huge aspirations to live in a house
because I saw like a picture of Jay Leno's like Newport like coastal house. Yeah. It's this massive mansion that's around the coast, and I don't see the appeal in that at all. Yeah,
I think I would get scared in a house too, like especially a house with a lot of glass and stuff at night, like when you can only see, because if you're like in a lit place and it's dark outside, there's glass, like you can only see yourself in there. Like that would freak me out so much.
And I also like think of all the costs that you incur from living such a big house. The housekeeping, the security that you gotta pay for it. Like, why do you want so much like passive costs? So guys, apartment lifestyle. Lifestyle. Oh my god, I cannot speak.
But
so just traveling.
Again, I'm trying to think of like, I would also, something that I've also been trying to get better at is like putting a specific amount of my money, or like just helping people out more. And so like the whole thing with Mackenzie Bezos, who Jeff Bezos like cheated on and got a big divorce with and everything.
She became the richest woman in the world. And gave like half her money, or like all of her money to charity.
And like the big thing with like mega rich philanthropy is that it's often like a way to get out of taxes and stuff as well, like tax write-offs and things. And
or
they're like
PR moves.
They'll make like PR also, but then like it's a legitimate way to like decrease their taxes, and we'll create like these foundations and stuff which have like all these questionable activities and like things like that. But she has like completely broken from the pack and gave away like an insane amount of money this year, just like no strings attached, and like not through a foundation or anything, like just through her giving it away. Sorry about the beeping.
What is that from?
I think it's like
a bomb,
the dehumidifier outside. But okay, it's done. But I would like, something that I'm trying to do more, even as like I was a student and I'm just like a fresh graduate, is like put a specific amount of money that I like want to give away, or like want to help out people with, and like just try to get better at that. So like it would be like tempting to not prioritize that, or just like put a small percentage of the money that you had into that if I was like super rich. But that's something I would like try to challenge myself to do.
I think that's a great mentality to have as well, to be giving in that sense. I feel like it shouldn't really be determinant on how much you earn. Like if you earn a certain amount, then if you're able to give $1, if you're able to give a cent, that's still something, right? A lot of people might, scorn you for like, oh, you're only giving that much, but it shouldn't be that. It's more so how much you're able to give based on what you have. And that mentality is like willing to be able to sacrifice a teeny bit for someone else is a very strong and admirable thing to do. I think that's something that I don't have right now, and I feel like I need to, look into and be able to change. I feel like my frugality is just holding me back too much. But yeah, I think that's something that everyone should really try. I've been trying to do that like here and there, but there's no consistency in it. So I feel like that's something that it's good to do as a physical act, but also like mentally, it makes you a better person.
Yeah. It's like, it's tempting to just like completely not do it at our age too, where we're like trying to save up, and we're like, oh, when I'm older, I have more money, I'll start doing it then. But it's like about habits and stuff too, and I'm really bad at it as well. So it's just hard.
This is nice. It went from, talking about buying things, and now we're talking about giving back. Giving back to the world.
We can do like a part 2 on this or something like that, because we also have a few things in our notes that we wanted to touch on, but we're at like 55 minutes.
Just to give you a little taste, I'm going to be roasting kids with iPads.
Yeah.
YouTubers. I'm going to be roasting YouTubers. This whole idea of selling bad messages to kids.
Yeah.
And how the younger generation is so doomed. But that'll be very interesting. It'll be a fun little rant. Cody, get ready for that.
Okay. We'll mostly be Ian talking.
Do you have any, not asking you to say anything, but do you have any thoughts about that? Personally?
Well, like...
It's more so, like, quantifying. Do you have any, like... I can't speak.
I think it's, like, something that I'll have to do a bit more research on, but when we were talking about this as we were writing notes, we talked about, like... You talked about the Paul brothers on YouTube, like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and I just have nothing but like hatred for them. So in terms of like that style of like,
it's less so research. Are you very opinionated in that regard in terms of like how kids are nowadays?
Yeah, I don't think I've given it a ton of thought.
Yeah.
But maybe it's something that I'll find really interesting to do research on and talk about.
Maybe because you don't have like a little cousin or whatever that you see.
I don't know too many young kids right now too.
Okay, yeah, because it pisses me off. But that'll be interesting and juicy on the next episode. I feel like there's a lot to talk about when we talk about this kind of thing. So we'll kind of branch into it maybe in the next few episodes or in 10 episodes down the line. But yeah, we'll be getting the most out of these episodes as Cody is still with us here, with us today before he leaves us forever. But yeah, thank you for listening to another episode. Follow us on Instagram at PicturePod, or rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be giving shout outs to everyone who rates and reviews us on Apple Podcasts, because no one's doing that right now. So come on, guys. None of you guys are even listening to this right now, are you?
Oh, dear. All right.
Poo Poo Pee Pee. Subscribe and check us out on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Poo Poo Pee Pee. Poo Poo Pee Pee. Poo Poo Pee Pee.
Oh, dear. Bye.
Hit them with a few Poo Poo Pee Pees.
Poo Poo Pee Pee.
Nice. And we'll grab a picture with you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.